when we were like, each of the judges is scoring according to their own criteria. So none of us are necessarily basing it on the same things. And Tom, at one point, said that he would give extra points to anyone who gave him a big dick. And in response to this, Johnny said that they would deduct points from anyone who gave Tom a big dick. And there is an author's note on this one that this story is an attempt to scoop the bonus points from both Johnny and Tom. It's also the only submission that came with illustrations, which I will attempt to share as I read. So this story is called Spaceballs 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Content warnings are Intergalactic War and the most graphic one so far, but I don't know if that's necessarily true.
That has definitely changed. This is no longer the most graphic one. It might be the most sexually graphic one. Unless you count all that poo as sexually graphic.
Some people do.
I would I'm gonna stop there. Anyway, so here is.
You gotta put a tarp down. That's what I'm into.
Put the tarp down. What?
Does Andrew need a moment?
No, that's fine.
Okay, story time. Tom B threw an arm around his giant dick at roughly shoulder height.
1.
Together, they stood and watched explosions blossom across the hull of the starship SS Necrodeath. They breathed a pair of weary sighs. Tom's came from his mouth. His giant dick's came from its dick hole. But was no less expressive of intense relief and satisfaction.
Like Tolstoy himself.
The war had been long and hard and sexy, but now finally the galaxy would know peace. The Dreadlord Malice had probably thought he'd won a decisive victory, Tom reflected, when he had severed Tom's penis with a flick of his lightning whip. How could he have known that Tom's famously large member, once freed from his groin, would gain sentience, grow to a height of 6 feet, and become his second in command? The universe, it seems, has a wry sense of humour.
That's one way to put it.
Together, they had blazed a sexy trail across the galaxy, freeing Malice's slaves and destroying his heavily guarded supply chains. It was all, as I've said, very sexy. The unlikely pair basked in the warming glow of the self-destructing Titan-class space destroyer. The fires reflected on the glistening sheen of Tom's penis's helmet.
Oh, God. Wow.
I just need to go to the toilet, but not in a sexual way. Can I just? I'm just kidding. I've got the story, so I can't really read it.
Cool.
Andrew Marsh there, weaving for a crafty wank. Nice.
Basically, it was like that shot at the end of Empire Strikes Back, except if one of them was a giant cock. And for your viewing pleasure, that is what that looks like.
Beautiful.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Tom turned towards his penis pal. What now? He said. They had never discussed what they would do after the war, had never dared to dream so far ahead. Perhaps Tom would return to Earth 3, herd cowcopters as his father had before him. Perhaps he could finally hang his blasters up and relax into the sleepy rhythms of rural life. Something in the knowing, roguish attitude of his giant penis told him that it had other ideas. Cocking its glands at a jaunty angle.
Oh my God.
It opened and closed its hole, the equivalent of a cheeky wink.
No. This is gonna turn me straight, I swear.
That turned me completely gay, I think.
Just wait.
It's like,
Don't pray the gay away. Just read fanfiction about Tom.
Tom's breath caught as his penis moved closer, nuzzling him.
Do I
He
fuck
felt
my
the-
own dick?
We've
He
all
felt-
wanted to do it.
He felt the warmth of it, radiating with a throbbing, virile energy. To many, the sight of a human-sized sentient penis would have inspired feelings of fear or revulsion. Up until this moment, Tom had only felt a comradely affection. Now, beneath his soldierly bravado, he began to feel the stirrings of a powerful attraction. Where Tom's penis had used to be, he was now smooth as an action man. There was now a persistent tingle, a reminder of long-forgotten desires. With one finger, Tom lightly traced the outline of a large bluish vein on the shaft of his penis and was gratified to feel the whole member shudder with excitement. It was now or never, he thought. Time for their greatest adventure yet. This next bit includes a cameo from me. Throwing caution to the wind, Tom flung off his mesh combat vest, yearning to feel his skin against the engorged monster cock. Pretty soon, this conversation, lightly haired chest was pressed against the smooth undercarriage of his enormous, pulsating wang. By the light of their nemesis's downfall, they fell to the floor, locked in a passionate masturbatory embrace. Tom felt an urgent nudging at his blaster belt. He clicked the release, allowing him to kick free his mesh combat trousers. There was an awful lot of mesh in the future, and mesh combat boots. See? His lithe, nude form intertwined with his cock. Every inch of the pair was alive with sensation as they wrapped themselves around each other. He was fascinated to find that although his crotch was as smooth as that first sip of Neptunian beer after a sexy space battle, he could still feel a kind of muted sensation there. As he gyrated, grinding his hips against the hard underbelly of his enormous penis, this sensation intensified, forcing gratified moans from his lips. Using a wrestling move he'd once defeated a Thrangian minge monster with, Tom swept his penis, straddling it and pinning it to the deck. He ground his smooth crotch up and down its length as it bucked and writhed in pleasure beneath him. It was a bit like that scene in Dr. Strangelove, except instead of a nuclear bomb, it's a giant cock. With images to illustrate. Pretty soon, their perspiring bodies were slithering over each other in a primal, accelerating rhythm. Tom's cock began mewling softly out of its hole.
Oh no.
Frankly, the effect was disconcerting, and I'm sorry to have brought it up.
Oh no.
The cavorting was reaching its climax, and every muscle was tensed as their shared orgasm swelled within. A final thrust saw Tom's penis shooting out a geyser of ropey man porridge.
Oh,
Ew.
oh.
No.
Ropey man porridge.
Oh, I can't believe this was my idea. His gluey jism spattered the viewing window, almost obscuring the smouldering wreckage beyond. Utterly satisfied, the pair collapsed on the space deck, each now looking forward to a long and sexy retirement. Also, Andrew was there. The end.
Is he back from the bathroom yet?
I am, yes.
When did you get back, Andrew? I wasn't paying attention.
Inside.
Probably around Ropey's semen thing.
Ropey man porridge.
Ropey man porridge, yeah.
There is a second author's note.
Yeah.
It says, I accept that this is a really long walk to what is basically a hand job. Also, apologies in general to humanity and the written word.
I don't know what you're talking about. That was incredibly well written. I particularly enjoyed all of the similes and illustrations.